The chapter which we will study today is Best Seller. It is written by O. Henry. Let's discuss about the poet first. The real name of O. Henry is William Sidney Porter. O. Henry is its pen name. He was an American writer of short stories and best known for his ironic plot twists and surprise endings. O. Henry was fascinated by New York street life, which provided a setting for many of his later stories, writing at the rate of more than one story per week. O. Henry published bestseller. Now, about this story. Bestseller is a typical O. Henry story. There is a little bit of satire, some romance, a little drama, a bit of mystery and suspense, and a sudden turn of events towards the climax. It deals with the fortune of a plate glass seller who meets his love while he is out to sell his wares. His marketing acumen is exceptional. He can sell his charms as easily as he can sell plate glass. Although he hates the predictability, monotony, and improbability of their storyline, he is given to reading popular best-selling fiction. The story is a little bit of satire, some romance, a little drama, a bit of mystery, and suspense. Now let's discuss summary. One day, the author was traveling to Pittsburgh. The place where he was going was Pittsburgh. So one day, the author was traveling to Pittsburgh. He was sitting in a chair car in the local train, and that was filled with that gentry in which like the chair car was full of with the gentry of the people and reading, and all were doing their work. The author happens to spot an old acquaintance of his in the chair car, reading a bestseller. His name is John A. Prescott, and he is a traveling salesman working for Cambria Steel Works, a plate glass company. After extending their initial pleasantries, the two get involved into discussion on life, business and romance, and popular fiction. In response to the narrator's inquiry as to how he was getting along professionally, Prescott expresses his great satisfaction at the process he has made since the two had last met. Within a couple of years, his salary had been raised twice and he has been to places selling plate glass. He also said to the author that he has bought a neat slice of property also. Quite abruptly, Prescott begins a conversation on the bestsellers of the time and remarks that he disliked bestsellers since, instead of reflecting real life where people make it a point to get married to somebody with the same social status as theirs, these books typically narrate the story of men of low status wooing and marrying a woman of exceptional beauty, riches, and social status. This incongruity makes their stories running unconvincing. The author said that all these best-selling stories are rank on the level. They all depend on the same point, that if a man will marry, he will marry to the same status. And this prompts the narrator to ask Pescat about his own romance. As if he was waiting for an opportunity, Pescat embarks upon a rather long, drawn and detailed story of his love, which has a happy ending in marriage. Pescat says he met his lady love on board a train, was fascinated by her charms, followed her, won over her heart, convinced her rather rigid father, and eventually married her. Then he told all the things about that, how he followed her and how he talked to her father and all. This had happened during one of his business trips to Cincinnati. One day, John A. Pescat was going to Cincinnati to sell the plate glass. The girl was one of his co-passengers and was so fascinated with her that he forgot all about his business trip. Once John A. Pescat thought that let the plate glass company go anywhere and I have to talk to this girl. He followed her from station to station, from Louisville to Shelbyville to Frankfort to Lexington. The chase continued till Virginia. At last the girl came down to Virginia, where he saw the girl being received by her father. The two walked home, and Pescat was highly impressed to see them enter an extremely big white house. When he saw the big white house, he was completely taken aback. The very high pillars were there, and his curiosity took him to the village, and he soon found out that the house was owned by a belted earl, Colonel Allen. On the third day, Pescat met the girl. He took all the information of the girl from a hotel owner. Her name was Jessie, and in the course of the conversation he learned from her that her father, the colonel, was very status conscious and he might not a commoner trying to woo his daughter. Undeterred by this, Pescat met the old man the next day. He took hardly any time to get over his nervousness and soon got the colonel laughing heartily at his amusing conversation. Within 6 months he managed to marry Jessie. By the time Pescat's story finished, the narrator train reached Coketown, and when the author remarked that there was not much scope of his getting many customers in such a small town, Pescat revealed that he was not going there for business, but to get some petunias, blossoms, and cuttings for his beloved wife. A glimpse of a pot with petunias in one of the windows had reminded Jessie of the petunias that she used to grow in Virginia. The narrator was truly amused, and as Pescat got off the train, he smiled to himself and wished good luck to this Trevelyan for getting the petunias for his princess. Now, the figure of speech used here first is tepidest curiosity. Here, tepidest means not interested and curiosity means enthusiasm. So these are two contradictory words used together, and when two contradictory words used together, the figure of speech used here is called oxymoron. You are the earth's fairest flowers. So here nothing is more beautiful than the nature. But here here the hero of the novel is considering his beloved as the earth's fairest flower. So here the figure of speech which is used is exaggeration. Exaggeration. Now the theme of bestseller is an account of a plate glass seller who, although a commoner, falls in love with a beautiful daughter of a belted colonel and succeeds in winning her hand in marriage. Thus, O. Henry gives theme of an incongruent love, a refreshing treatment. It gives us incongruent love, a refreshing treatment. by narrating a story within a story. At the same time, he has a dig at the popularity of pulp literature bestsellers that are full of similar but quite predictable love stories. Now, the main characters, John A. Prescott. These are the two main characters of the now questions. We have to do the questions. Question number 1. What personal and professional qualities make John A. Prescott an excellent salesman? Question number 2. Question number 2. The narrator says that life has no geographical bounds. What does this statement imply?